Have you ever opened the refrigerator, found yesterday's leftovers, and thought, "I'll just warm this up"? It's too good to waste. It's something most of us have done countless times. A bowl of soup, a serving of vegetables, a piece of chicken from last night's dinner, or a baked potato waiting for another meal. Reheating leftovers feels practical, economical, and perfectly harmless. But what if one small habit in your kitchen isn't always as safe as it seems? What if certain foods begin to change after they've been cooked, cooled, and heated again? Not because they've spoiled, but because the heat itself can alter their natural structure in ways that many people have never been told about. Doctors and nutrition experts have spent years studying how repeated heating affects different foods. Their findings suggest that, in some cases, reheating may encourage the formation of compounds that place extra stress on the body. Over time, these changes have been associated with problems such as digestive discomfort, increased inflammation, and in certain situations, a higher risk of chronic illnesses, including some forms of cancer and diseases that affect memory and brain health. Now, this doesn't mean every leftover meal is dangerous. Nor does it mean you should throw away everything that's been in your refrigerator overnight. The real question is much simpler. Which foods deserve a little more caution before you heat them again? The answer surprises many people because these aren't unusual or exotic ingredients. In fact, they're foods that millions of families prepare every single week. You may even have one or two of them sitting in your refrigerator right now. In today's video, we'll explore 5 common foods that experts recommend handling carefully after they've been cooked. More importantly, we'll explain why using clear, easy-to-understand science instead of myths or internet rumors. You'll learn what actually happens inside these foods when they're reheated, why older adults may be more sensitive to these changes, and what simple steps you can take to continue enjoying your meals while reducing unnecessary risks. Sometimes, protecting your health doesn't require expensive supplements or complicated diets. It starts with understanding a few everyday habits that most of us never stop to question. So before you warm up your next plate of leftovers, stay with us until the very end. One of the foods on today's list surprises almost everyone because it's often considered one of the healthiest choices you can make. Yet many people unknowingly prepare it in a way that may reduce its benefits. If you enjoy practical health tips designed to help you stay active, independent, and informed as you grow older, please take a moment to give this video a like. It truly helps us reach more people who may benefit from this information. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming videos, filled with simple, science-based advice for healthy aging. Before we begin, we'd also love to know a little about you. Please leave a comment below and tell us where you're watching from. It's always wonderful to see viewers joining us from different cities, states, and countries around the world. And your comments help build a warm community where we can all learn from one another. Now, let's begin with the first food on our list. Number 1. Spinach may not be as harmless the second time around. Spinach has earned its reputation as one of the healthiest vegetables you can put on your plate. It's packed with vitamins A, C, and K, along with iron, folate, and powerful antioxidants that help protect your cells from everyday damage. Whether it's added to soups, blended into smoothies, or lightly sautéed with garlic, spinach is often recommended as part of a healthy diet, especially for older adults who want to support their heart, bones, and brain. Because it's so nutritious, many people prepare a large batch at once, planning to enjoy the leftovers over the next few days. It seems like a smart way to save both time and effort. However, spinach is one of the few vegetables that deserves a little extra attention once it's been cooked. The reason has nothing to do with freshness or taste. In fact, reheated spinach may still smell fine and look perfectly normal. The concern lies in a series of chemical changes that are impossible to see. Spinach naturally contains compounds called nitrates. On their own, nitrates are not considered harmful. In fact, they can support healthy blood circulation and may even help regulate blood pressure. That's one reason leafy greens are often praised by nutrition experts. The problem begins after spinach has been cooked, stored for a period of time, and then heated again. During storage and repeated heating, some of those naturally occurring nitrates can gradually be converted into nitrites. Under certain conditions, nitrites may then form compounds known as nitrosamines. Scientists have studied nitrosamines for many years because long-term exposure to high levels has been linked to an increased risk of several types of cancer. Researchers have also explored their possible role in damaging nerve cells and contributing to diseases that affect memory, including Alzheimer's disease. This doesn't mean that eating reheated spinach once will suddenly make someone ill. Health is rarely determined by a single meal. Instead, it's our everyday habits that slowly shape our future. Small choices repeated over months and years can either support our well-being or quietly place extra strain on the body. For older adults, this becomes even more important. As we grow older, the liver and kidneys don't always remove unwanted substances as efficiently as they once did. At the same time, the brain becomes more vulnerable to chronic inflammation, a process that many scientists now believe plays a role in age-related cognitive decline. While inflammation is a normal part of the body's defense system, persistent low-grade inflammation over many years may gradually affect memory, concentration, and overall brain health. Imagine preparing a large pot of creamy spinach soup on Sunday evening. You enjoy one bowl for dinner, refrigerate the rest, then reheat another serving on Monday, another on Tuesday, and perhaps the last portion again later in the week. It feels like a practical way to avoid food waste, yet every additional round of heating gives those chemical changes another opportunity to occur. Fortunately, protecting yourself doesn't require giving up spinach altogether. Fresh spinach remains an excellent food and deserves a place in a balanced diet. The key is simply learning how to handle it more carefully. Whenever possible, prepare only the amount you expect to eat. If you do have leftovers, consider enjoying them cold in a salad or mixed into another chilled dish rather than heating them again. If reheating is unavoidable, warm the spinach gently over low heat instead of exposing it to very high temperatures, and try to reheat it only once. Just as importantly, refrigerate cooked spinach promptly after the meal instead of leaving it at room temperature for extended periods. These small habits may seem insignificant, but over the years they can become part of a healthier routine that supports both your body and your mind. If you're still watching and finding these tips helpful, let us know by leaving a number 1 in the comments below. We'd love to know you're here with us as we continue through the rest of today's list. Number 2. Potatoes can become risky. When they're stored the wrong way, potatoes have been a favorite comfort food for generations. They're affordable, filling, and incredibly versatile. Whether they're baked until fluffy, mashed with a little butter, roasted with herbs, or added to soups and stews, potatoes have earned a permanent place on dinner tables around the world. Because they are so convenient, it's common to cook several potatoes at once and save the extras for another meal. Many people simply wrap the leftovers, place them in the refrigerator, and reheat them the next day without giving it a second thought. In most cases, that seems perfectly reasonable. However, with potatoes, the biggest concern isn't always what happens during reheating itself. It's what may happen while the potatoes are cooling and being stored. Unlike spinach, the primary issue here isn't a chemical reaction. It's the possibility of bacterial growth if cooked potatoes aren't handled properly after they've been prepared. One bacterium that receives particular attention is Clostridium botulinum. Under the right conditions, this bacterium can multiply and produce toxins that are among the most powerful natural poisons known. The difficult part is that contaminated potatoes may not smell unusual or look spoiled. Everything can appear completely normal, making the problem easy to overlook. The risk becomes greater when freshly cooked potatoes are wrapped tightly in aluminum foil and left sitting at room temperature for several hours before refrigeration. The foil traps moisture and limits oxygen, creating an environment where this bacterium may have a better chance to grow if it is present. Although serious cases are uncommon, the toxins produced by these bacteria can affect both the digestive system and the nervous system. Symptoms may begin with nausea, stomach discomfort, or vomiting. But in more severe situations, they can interfere with muscle function and normal nerve signaling. For older adults, even milder foodborne illnesses can have a greater impact than they do in younger people. As we age, the immune system naturally becomes less efficient at recognizing and fighting harmful microorganisms. Recovery often takes longer, and dehydration from vomiting or diarrhea can become more serious. Researchers also continue to explore the close relationship between the digestive system and the brain, sometimes called the gut-brain axis. When the digestive tract is under stress from infection or inflammation, it may also influence energy levels, mood, and even cognitive function. Imagine baking several large potatoes for a family dinner. After everyone finishes eating, the remaining potatoes are left wrapped in foil on the kitchen counter while everyone relaxes and watches television. Hours later, they're finally placed in the refrigerator. The following afternoon, one of those potatoes is reheated for lunch. It may taste exactly the same as it did the night before. Yet the way it was stored could have increased the chance of unwanted bacterial growth long before it was reheated. Fortunately, preventing this problem is surprisingly simple. After cooking, allow potatoes to cool only briefly before transferring them to the refrigerator. Instead of storing them wrapped in aluminum foil, place them in a clean, airtight container where they can be kept safely chilled. Try to eat leftover potatoes within the next day or two, rather than keeping them for an extended period. When it's time to reheat them, make sure they are heated thoroughly, all the way through, instead of remaining cool in the center. And avoid reheating the same portion over and over again. If you're ever uncertain about how long cooked potatoes have been sitting in the refrigerator, it's usually wiser to prepare a fresh batch than to take unnecessary chances. Potatoes can absolutely remain part of a healthy diet. The important lesson isn't to avoid them. It's to give just as much attention to how they're stored as to how they're cooked. Sometimes a simple change in kitchen habits can do more to protect your health than many people realize. Number 3. Eggs lose some of their benefits when reheated. Eggs are often described as one of nature's most complete foods, and for good reason. They're an excellent source of high-quality protein, along with important nutrients such as vitamin B12, selenium, and choline, which plays an important role in supporting brain function. For many older adults, eggs are an easy, affordable way to maintain muscle strength and meet daily protein needs. Many people like to boil several eggs at the beginning of the week, so breakfast or a quick snack is always ready. Others make scrambled eggs for dinner, save the leftovers, and simply warm them up the next morning. It seems like an efficient habit that fits into a busy routine. However, eggs are another food that deserves a little extra care when they're reheated. The concern isn't that cooked eggs suddenly become poisonous. Instead, repeated exposure to high heat can gradually change some of the natural compounds found inside them. One change involves cholesterol found in the yolk. When eggs are cooked once, the cholesterol remains relatively stable. But when they're reheated, especially at high temperatures or in a microwave where heating may be uneven, part of that cholesterol can become oxidized. This process creates substances known as oxysterols. Researchers have been studying oxysterols because they appear to promote inflammation inside the body. Long-term inflammation has been associated with a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, and some studies suggest it may also contribute to the gradual decline of memory and cognitive function as people age. The proteins in eggs can also change during repeated heating. This is why reheated eggs often become rubbery, dry, or develop a stronger sulfur-like smell. Those changes are more than a difference in texture. They reflect alterations in the protein structure, making the eggs less enjoyable to eat and potentially more difficult for the body to digest. Again, this isn't something that happens because of one reheated breakfast. It's the pattern that matters. When small sources of inflammation become part of daily life over many years, they may gradually add to the body's overall burden. Older adults should pay particular attention to this because the body changes with age. Fat metabolism often becomes less efficient than it was decades earlier, meaning the body may have a harder time processing oxidized fats. At the same time, scientists believe that the aging brain becomes increasingly sensitive to chronic inflammation. Protecting brain health isn't just about crossword puzzles or staying mentally active. It also includes paying attention to everyday dietary habits that may influence inflammation over time. Imagine preparing a dozen hard-boiled eggs every Sunday to make weekday breakfasts easier. Each morning, instead of eating one cold, you place it in the microwave for a quick warm-up before heading out the door. It seems like a small difference, but repeating that routine week after week exposes the eggs to unnecessary additional heating that offers little nutritional advantage. Fortunately, the solution is simple. Hard-boiled eggs are perfectly enjoyable, straight from the refrigerator. They can be sliced over a salad, added to a sandwich, or eaten as a quick snack without being reheated at all. If you do prefer them warm, use gentle heat for a short time rather than exposing them to intense temperatures, and avoid reheating the same eggs more than once. As with many of the foods we're discussing today, proper storage also matters. Keep cooked eggs refrigerated promptly and enjoy them within a few days for the best quality and safety. Sometimes the healthiest choice isn't changing what you eat. It's simply changing how you prepare it. If you're still watching and enjoying today's video, leave a number 2 in the comments below. Number 4. Reheated chicken may place more stress on the body than you realize. Chicken has long been considered one of the healthiest sources of protein. It's lean, satisfying, and easy to prepare in countless ways. Whether it's grilled, roasted, baked, or added to soups and salads, chicken provides the amino acids your body needs to maintain muscles, repair tissues, and support overall health. As we age, preserving muscle strength becomes one of the best ways to maintain balance, independence, and mobility. That's why many doctors and dietitians encourage seniors to include enough high-quality protein in their daily meals, and chicken is often one of the first recommendations. Because it's so practical, many people cook several chicken breasts or thighs at once. Meal prepping for the week saves time, reduces daily cooking, and makes healthy eating much more convenient. But there's one detail that's easy to overlook. Every time cooked chicken is exposed to high heat again, its proteins continue to change. Cooking naturally alters protein, making it easier to digest. However, when that same chicken is reheated repeatedly, especially at high temperatures or in a microwave where heating is often uneven, the protein structure continues to break down. At the same time, compounds called advanced glycation end products, commonly known as AGEs, can increase. Scientists have been studying AGEs for years because they are associated with oxidative stress and chronic inflammation throughout the body. Elevated levels of these compounds have been linked to conditions such as cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and age-related cognitive decline. Researchers are also investigating their possible role in diseases like Alzheimer's, where long-term inflammation appears to contribute to damage within the brain. This doesn't mean reheated chicken should cause panic. Like the other foods we've discussed today, the concern isn't based on a single meal. Instead, it's about reducing unnecessary sources of inflammation whenever possible, especially when small improvements are easy to make. Older adults often have more reason to pay attention because digestion naturally becomes less efficient with age. Stomach acid production may decline, digestive enzymes may become less active, and meals that were once easy to process can begin to feel heavier than before. Many seniors also live with low-grade chronic inflammation related to aging or long-term health conditions, meaning the body already has more to manage each day. Imagine preparing several grilled chicken breasts every Sunday afternoon for the entire week. Each lunchtime, one portion goes straight from the refrigerator into the microwave until it's piping hot. By Friday, the final serving is noticeably drier, tougher, and less flavorful than it was when freshly cooked. That change in texture isn't simply a matter of taste. It reflects additional structural changes taking place inside the protein with every round of heating. While your body can still digest it, repeatedly exposing chicken to intense heat may reduce its overall quality and gradually increase the formation of compounds that place extra stress on your cells. Fortunately, you don't have to stop eating chicken to avoid these concerns. A few simple habits can make a meaningful difference. Whenever possible, prepare portions that you'll finish within a day or two, instead of cooking an entire week's supply. If you enjoy leftovers, consider slicing cold chicken over a fresh salad or using it in a sandwich, where reheating isn't necessary. When warming cooked chicken is unavoidable, choose gentle, even heat on the stovetop, or in a low-temperature oven, rather than blasting it in the microwave for several minutes. And just like the other foods we've discussed, try not to reheat the same portion more than once. Chicken remains an excellent choice for healthy aging. The goal isn't to remove it from your diet, but to preserve as much of its nutritional value as possible through thoughtful preparation and storage. If you're still with us and finding today's information helpful, leave a number 3 in the comments below. We'd love to know you're following along as we continue to the final food on today's list. Number 5. Mushrooms are best enjoyed fresh rather than reheated. Mushrooms are one of those foods that offer far more than their modest appearance suggests. They're naturally low in calories yet rich in antioxidants, B vitamins, minerals, and unique plant compounds that help support the immune system. Many varieties also provide nutrients that contribute to heart health and healthy aging, making mushrooms a popular addition to balanced meals. Whether they're sautéed with herbs, added to pasta, stirred into soups, or served alongside grilled meats, mushrooms bring both flavor and nutrition to the table. Because they blend so well into many dishes, it's easy to make extra and save the leftovers for another day. However, mushrooms are another food that may not respond well to repeated reheating. Unlike vegetables that are mostly water, mushrooms contain delicate proteins and natural fats that can change when exposed to heat more than once. After the initial cooking, these nutrients begin to break down gradually. Reheating them again, particularly over high heat, can accelerate that process, reducing both their nutritional value and the ease with which your body digests them. One concern researchers have discussed is oxidation. When proteins and fats become oxidized, they can contribute to what scientists call oxidative stress. This occurs when harmful molecules, often referred to as free radicals, begin to outnumber the body's natural antioxidant defenses. Over time, excessive oxidative stress has been linked to chronic inflammation, faster cellular aging, and an increased risk of several long-term health conditions. While mushrooms themselves contain antioxidants that normally help fight this process, repeated heating may reduce some of those protective benefits while increasing the breakdown of sensitive nutrients. Many people also notice another change after reheating mushrooms. The texture often becomes softer, rubbery, or slightly watery, and they may feel heavier in the stomach than when freshly prepared. That's because the proteins have continued to change, making them somewhat more difficult for the digestive system to process. For younger adults, this may simply be an inconvenience. For older adults, the effects can be more noticeable. As we age, digestion naturally slows down. The stomach produces less acid, digestive enzymes become less active, and food may remain in the digestive tract longer than it once did. At the same time, the immune system becomes less efficient, making it even more important to reduce unnecessary sources of inflammation whenever possible. Choosing foods that are easier to digest can help the body use its energy more effectively, instead of placing additional strain on the digestive system. Imagine preparing a creamy mushroom risotto for a family dinner. Everyone enjoys it, but there's still enough left for another meal. The next evening, the risotto is reheated until steaming hot. While the rice still tastes good, the mushrooms are no longer as tender and flavorful. They've become softer, slightly chewy, and noticeably different from the night before. those changes aren't simply affecting the eating experience. They also reflect the gradual breakdown of some of the mushroom's more delicate nutrients after repeated exposure to heat. Fortunately, enjoying mushrooms safely doesn't require avoiding them. Freshly cooked mushrooms remain an excellent addition to a healthy diet. If you have leftovers, refrigerate them promptly in a sealed container and try to eat them within the next day or two. If reheating is necessary, use gentle heat just until they're warmed through, rather than cooking them again at a high temperature. Better yet, consider using chilled cooked mushrooms in a salad, grain bowl, or wrap, where they can still add flavor without another round of heating. The goal, as with every food we've discussed today, isn't to create fear around eating leftovers. It's to understand that the way we store and prepare food can be just as important as the food itself. Small adjustments in everyday kitchen habits may seem insignificant at first, but over time they can become simple. Practical steps toward protecting your digestion, supporting your brain, and maintaining better health as you grow older. As we come to the end of today's video, remember that healthy aging isn't usually the result of one big decision. More often, it's the small habits you practice every day that make the greatest difference over time. Knowledge only becomes valuable when it's put into practice. So starting today, choose just one tip from this video and make it part of your routine. One small change may seem insignificant now, but over the months and years ahead, those small choices can add up to a healthier body, a sharper mind, and greater independence. Now we'd love to hear from you. Which of the 5 foods surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else who watches this video. If you found today's information helpful, please take a moment to give this video a like and share it with your family and friends. Someone you care about may benefit from these simple tips just as much as you have. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming videos on healthy aging, nutrition, and practical ways to stay active and independent for years to come. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We truly appreciate your support, and we look forward to seeing you again in our next video. Until then, take good care of yourself and stay healthy.